Hello, I am Gently ASMR, and today I am going to be giving myself a little trim. So, one of the ways that I keep my hair looking healthy is going in and looking for places where the strands have split and then just trimming them right off. It's not quite a full trim, it's just kind of detailing, and I haven't really done it in a moment, so I suspect that there will be a greater than usual amount of split ends for me to find. So I thought I might share that process with you today as kind of an unusual twist on the usual hair cutting video. I'll be using this little clip to pull back the parts of my hair that aren't actively being inspected. It's pink like the rest of me today. Okay, so why don't I pull everything but the very front to the back, pin it up. Okay, so this leaves a nice solid starting point, and it's also just kind of a cute hairstyle on its own. You can tell I just recently showered and I'm letting my hair air dry because I always think it turns out the shiniest and healthiest looking that way. Alright, so I'm going to inspect this first little coil of hair, and it helps that my studio lights are pointed right at me because split ends catch the light a little more brightly than the strands around it, and so the broken hairs have just a little bit of a glow at the end, and so I just need to track those down and give them a little snip. Fortunately, I'm not seeing all that many, which is good because it used to feel like almost all my hair was split ends, but I think ever since I started treating it properly for its actual wavy texture, the ends have been sealing up a lot better. Okay, I have identified a few broken hairs. These aren't actually split ends, but just spots where there's a little bit of breakage, and that is also identifiable with a little bit of a glow. Yeah, it definitely helps with this process. Oh, I see a split end. Okay. Now I'm just gonna go in and very delicately Not being hasty, not hurrying, because hurrying is how you mess up with this kind of thing. No, just take it easy, take it slow. Do it in multiple segments if that's easier for you, if you want to try this. It's not something you have to do all at once. Sometimes you can just take a little section of hair and snip the splits. And just do one little bit at a time. And that contributes to the overall look of the health of your hair. Yeah, my hair is definitely started to appear a lot healthier since I stopped brushing it and blow drying it so much. Okay, I don't think I see all that many problem areas on this strand, so I think I'll move on to this side now. Okay. There's a couple of little splits right here. Every now and again, I'll get kind of a insane looking split end. Like, one that covers up the entire hair strand and not just the end. Like, it's really weird. It kind of looks like a tree. I have no idea what causes that, but I'm sure it's not good. I haven't gotten one in a long time though, so I assume that was a hair mistreatment side effect. If you're like me and you have a hair texture, or if you were like I was rather, and you have a hair texture that you consider frizzy, you might want to consider looking into something called the curly girl method. I don't adhere to it 100%. For example, I'm really sparse with my use of gel because it causes my hair to dry really, really slowly, so it just doesn't feel worthwhile for me to use. But there is a lot of guidelines in that method that are really helpful for transitioning your hair from being improperly treated for its texture to being correctly treated. Because I think this is like it's a more pervasive issue with women of color, but there's also just kind of a generalized cluelessness on how to properly care for and maintain any hair that isn't naturally straight. And I think that can negatively affect a lot of people who, don't have a naturally straight hair texture. And treating your hair in a way that isn't simpatico with its natural texture will naturally lead to breakage, which I think is a big reason why I have had kind of a lifelong issue with growing my hair out, because it's just so slow, and it just never seems to go anywhere, and it never really seems to get longer than my shoulder blades. But I'm kind of hopeful that now that I have started altering my hair regimen to be treating my follicles a little more kindly, I'm hoping that will lead to improved growth overall in the future. Oh, there's a bad break right there. Got it. Alright. Proceeding on to this back segment. I'm not sure why this right side is so much more breaky than the left. Actually, I kind of suspect that it's because my dominant hand is my right, and I'm a fidgeter, and so I probably fidget with my hair, which isn't really good for it. Causes increased breakage like what I'm seeing here. It's a lot harder to do this process if your hair isn't longer. Although you can do it in a mirror, but I personally find it really, really difficult to use scissors while looking in a mirror. My brain doesn't like left-right translations. And so I naturally get a little confused. Because it's like my eyeballs tell my hand that it should be going one way when it's actually the other. The quality of recordings on this channel is going to change a bit here soon. Back to a feature that was included in some of my earlier videos, and that is crickets. I can't control the sounds of the crickets, but I honestly think it makes for a really nice ambiance, and I don't find it distracting or unrelaxing like Okay, there's one. I'm not seeing many other issue spots. Let me just get these last couple that I've identified. Oh, come on. I hate when it ducks into a strand of normal hair. Oh, there's one. Okay. Alright, I'm going to now change the location of the clip. So I set aside the hair that has already been completed. Okay. Here we go. All ready to continue. Okay, I'll go on to this side. Generally, the hair that isn't immediately in front doesn't tend to suffer quite as much breakage as the parts that are, and I again suspect that's because of my hair fidgeting tendencies. But there are a few broken strands here and there. Fortunately, they tend to jut out, or at least the most problematic ones do, which, snipping those ones off is good for the overall look and appearance of the health of your hair. This is a lot better of an activity for the health of your hair than peeling your split ends, which I admittedly used to do, especially in elementary school when I was bored. There's something so satisfying about it, I won't lie. Although, it's better to just cut them off. Just cut them right off. You don't need them. You don't need to weaken your hair by running the breakage all the way down. Another way that I deviate from the curly curl method is that I don't particularly avoid silicones, and that's just because I use Olaplex, because I think the benefits of using Olaplex for me have outweighed any potential negatives that might come with silicones. And so Fortunately, it does compensate for that in the guide. If you want to use products with silicones with wavy curly hair, you just need to do a reset wash with a shampoo containing sulfates every now and again in order to thoroughly wash out any residue that might remain from that product. Most of my information I've gotten about the curly curl method has been from the curly hair subreddit, of which there is a post front and center where that information is available. But again, I don't adhere religiously whatsoever to the suggestions in that regimen. I just kind of use it as a guideline for a better way to take care of your hair when it's not a straight texture. Like it never occurred to me that I don't really need to brush my hair. Like, if I let it go too long, it definitely does get messy. But if I brush it after letting it air dry wavy like this, it just gets kind of poofy and has that kind of Hermione look to it. Hermione hair is actually a perfect example of hair that is being treated like it's straight hair when it's not supposed to be. That's exactly what happens. Like a prime example. That hair would probably be like in tight little ringlets if it was taken care of properly. Seeing a ton of breakage here, a little bending, not too much. There's one. I try to use heat products very sparingly. Miss the 2000s. I remember I was, whenever I didn't straight iron my hair to like go to middle school or whatever, the snobby girls would be like, you should probably fix that. Thanks, Stephanie. You're looking nice and crispy today. That's what I've always wanted to emulate. But I did it. I succumbed to the peer pressure. It's true. And I straightened my hair with a flat iron whenever I had the opportunity. Of course, it was terrible for it, even more terrible than just brushing and blow drying it like I was already. There's nothing wrong with brushing and blow drying if your hair texture is naturally straight. It's just when it's not, it's just not going to agree with you. But I was always so jealous of the girls in my class who did have naturally straight hair, because I was like, oh God, your morning routine must be so fast. Your hair already comes pre-trendy. I was in the era of low-rise jeans. And Ugg boots. No, truly, there was a good while during my youth where you could not buy jeans unless they were low-rise. They just didn't, they didn't sell them. Low-rise was default. Especially in like young women's and juniors sections. And it was just really lousy for me because I do not have a low-rise jeans body type. I do not. Once the high-waisted era began, I thrived, and I will never, ever, ever and I will never go back, even if it's labeled untrendy. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not going back to low-rise jeans ever. It's like asking to have your underwear out. It's not fun. It's not comfortable. I don't know how anyone tolerated that. And I swear I hear mumblings that it might be coming back. Like, no. Leave certain Y2K trends were trash, and they deserve to be left in the past. Okay, since I can't really effectively inspect the area in the back at this length, I think I'm going to call it here. I hope that you have enjoyed watching this little trim and ramble, and I sincerely hope that you